So everybody once recorded is done. Okay. Good morning. I was about to say ladies and gentlemen of the press, but there's just one female, so lady and gentlemen of the press. Thank you for attending our usual press launch for our upcoming candidates who are going to be officially launched, and as well the first of our series of presentations and our pledges, which will follow immediately after Ernest's press launch. We'll also update you on upcoming events, also on past events. And speaking of past events, you witnessed last Sunday a tremendous reception that Herbert Rosary got in the Lion's Den of Micoud North last week Sunday, or this week Sunday. The Labour Party, as you can see, is contesting every one of the 17 seats. And when I say contesting, I don't mean just fielding a candidate, but actually putting the best foot forward to secure every seat possible. We regard no seat as sacred. We regard no seat as unreachable. We believe that we have the candidates in substance, in quality, in competence, to ensure that the essence of governance remains resident in the Labour Party. Today we launch Ernest Hilaire, and it's more than just the role of chairman that I'm pleased to be here today. Ernest has been a long-standing friend who has been there for me, who has been a reliable brother, who has shown me and others what it means to be dedicated to a cause, what it is to live out a dream, ensure your dream becomes a reality. And when you consider the heights to which this Fouachaud-born resident, Lower Monroe, has achieved, great heights he has achieved. So, without any further ado, I introduce the St. Lucia Labour Party's endorsed candidate for the constituency of Castries South, and a man I'm proud to call friend, which in today's world is not a word you use easily, my friend Ernest Hilaire. Over to you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press. As stated by the chairman, I'm Ernest Hilaire, and I'm the St. Lucia Labour Party's endorsed candidate for Castries South. I was born at Lower Mon Road and spent my early years roaming the pathways, alleys, and steps of Hospital Road, Fouachaud, and Banan. I was nurtured in the youth and student movement and was a founding president of the student branch of the National Youth Council. I also served as vice president of the National Youth Council, having been a founding member. I served as president of the Caribbean Federation of Youth and had the honor to represent St. Lucia and the Caribbean as a student representative, then as a youth representative the world over. My early years were spent in the arena of community service and youth activism. My consciousness was shaped by my upbringing and dedication to serving my community. I have been a tireless advocate ever since I started my life of community service. I became a political activist in 1986 when I attended my first St. Lucia Labour Party conference, and I've had an extremely active role in the party ever since. I believe in the philosophy and programs of the St. Lucia Labour Party. I believe that we need to build a more equal and meritocratic society where everyone, regardless of place of birth, family background, or political affiliation, has an equal chance to succeed in life. I believe that development must be about the people, with the people, and for the people. I hold firm to the belief that public life is about service to the people and not a favor to the people. The Labour Party has best offered me the chance to live that philosophy. I have learned hard work and commitment through my upbringing and my involvement in the youth movement, through community service, and as a political activist. I first served as the administrative attaché to Prime Minister Dr. Kennedy Anthony from 1997 to 1999. I became thereafter permanent secretary in the Ministry of Youth and Sports. I also had the privilege to serve as the CEO of Cricket World Cup 2007 St. Lucia Inc. and as tournament director for the ICC World T20 2010. I worked as a management consultant with the renowned management firm McKinsey. I'm a former chief executive officer of the West Indies Cricket Board, and most recent, I served as St. Lucia's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom and Ireland, as well as St. Lucia's ambassador to France. I was also accredited to many international organizations headquartered in Europe. Whenever given an opportunity, I have worked hard and tried to serve with distinction, always representing St. Lucia's best interests. I attained a first-class honors in political science and sociology from the Cave Hill campus, University of the West Indies. I attained a master's in philosophy in international relations from Cambridge University and followed up with a PhD from the London School of Economics. I also hold an executive diploma in negotiation and conflict resolution from the University of Notre Dame in the United States. Throughout my studies, I have worked diligently, gave of my best, and pursued excellence. Much work has been done in Castries South, but still there is much more which has to be done. As an urban community within the city, the constituency faces all the challenges of lack of housing, poor living conditions, high unemployment, inadequate facilities, and social discontent. But it is a place overflowing with talent, opportunity, and expectation. I'm excited about the journey ahead as I stand as the lead advocate for the constituents to deal with the issues which confront them. I intend to be relentless in my addressing the housing issues in Fuasho, Banan, Cemetery, Marigot, and Cicero. I intend to be unwavering as I argue for a settlement of land ownership issues in Goodlands, Banan, Monlatok, and Cemetery. I will not rest until proper facilities are provided in Marigot, Basse Joseph, Ticolo, Fuasho, Goodlands, and Cicero. I dream of a redeveloped Banan's waterfront, which will offer employment opportunities and enhance the appearance of such a beautiful stretch of land. I will argue for the continuation of the infrastructural works which have started to ensure that there are proper roads, drains, footpaths, and lighting throughout the constituency. Beyond the projects, I am most excited about the program which we will implement to engage the youth and offer them an opportunity and space to start realizing their dreams and aspirations. I'm excited about working with the youth. I intend to serve Castries South with the same hard work, dedication, and commitment which have thus far guided me throughout my time as a student, youth leader, and in my professional life. The journey continues for me, and there is no other destination but a better Castries South. I am ready to serve. Thank you very much.
Members of the press?
As I stated in my opening statement, my offering myself as a candidate and being accepted by the people of Castries South is a continuation of my service to the community and to St. Lucia and to the region. My dreams are to be the best parliamentary representative Castries South ever had. It's not an easy task. This is the constituency of George Charles, of John Odlum, and lately of Robert Lewis. That's what my dream is about, to make sure that I can improve the conditions of living of the people of Castries South and to create more opportunities for the young people in particular to realize their dreams. And I intend to do so as best as I can, and that's where it is.
Riani, let me just follow up on that, Riani, because perhaps it is necessary at this point to make the statement as pellucidly clear as possible so that there can be no doubt. There has been much speculation on the part of the United Workers' Party simply to sow seeds of discord within the St. Lucia Labour Party. The St. Lucia Labour Party has a structured leadership within its ranks. The St. Lucia Labour Party has a constitution. In the history of the Labour Party, the oldest party in St. Lucia, it has never once breached that constitution. The way a political leader, a deputy political leader, is selected is stated in the Constitution. There's never been a deviation from that. There are people who would want to point and say the Constitution makes provision for a political leader who has been Prime Minister for 2 terms not to go up, not to seek the political leadership. That is not true. There was an amendment which, again, contrary to what is being said, does not take away the proviso that a political leader can only serve 2 terms. It merely added an amendment which stated that if 2/3 of the delegates decide to waive that provision, they can do so. It is nothing different than, for example, in the House of Assembly, where the rules state a member shall speak for 1 hour. But the rules also allow for the members present to move a motion to suspend that provision to allow a member to speak for more than 1 hour. That is what it is. So it is not Ernest Hilaire or Robert Lewis or Alva Baptiste that decides whether they are going to be political leader. It is the delegates of the 17 constituencies who meet at annual conventions who decide that.
My second question, you received Dr. Robert Lewis, you also mentioned John Arnold from Castries South. Look at Castries South today. What does it say about their representation of the constituents under the government when they serve them?
But I think if you look at Castries South, you will see evidence of a lot of work that has been done over the years. I made the point that Castries South is an urban community, and urban communities by their nature have far greater challenges and difficulties than the average constituency. And not just in St. Lucia. Look around the Caribbean, in Jamaica, in Port of Spain, in Bridgetown, in Antigua. Look at New York, look at London. No, the point I'm making to you is that urban communities have particular challenges that are different to other constituencies. And what we need to do is to ensure that we have a program that specifically and continuously address those challenges that I speak of. You look at, for example, Monkey Town. Persons will move from Conway and move to Monkey Town, and for a number of years under the United Workers' Party, they were not provided with roads, with lighting. Under the Labour Party government in the last 5 years in particular, a tremendous amount of work has been done to put roads throughout Monkey Town, put lighting throughout the area. You look at Fuasho, a lot has been said over the years about improving the conditions. John Odlum represented that constituency, but for most of the time he was in opposition. From the time John Odlum entered into Parliament as a representative under the Labour Party government, work has started in Fuasho to improve the conditions. Robert Lewis has continued. But we need to do a lot more than that. We need to ensure that as much as possible we eradicate a lot of those issues. So a lot has been done, but a lot more has to be done. And it is the challenge that I face as a parliamentary representative, and in particular a person who grew up in some of those areas, to be able to advance the work that has started and ensure that we can make a definitive statement about the conditions of living of the constituents.
Just on housing a lot, is that, or could that really alleviate or change the perception of some of these areas of Castries South?
But it's more than just a perception, it's about the actual conditions that people live in. And a lot of it came back to a statement I made about land ownership. You know, we and the Labour Party government started a program many years ago, the Proud program, to give people who lived on lands for many years and did not have title and ownership a chance to own those lands. I am a beneficiary of it as a young man whose mother insisted on getting a piece of land that she had title to and could then use to mortgage so her children can go to university. And that is the kind of empowerment that St. Lucia Labour Party has done for the Proud program. And for me, it is critical. There are too many persons living in Goodlands, in Bannan, in Fuasho, in Marigot, that do not have title to the land that they live on. And it is something we have to address, and it is something which is going to be a priority for me.
Should the government have to pay for that? Should the government, put the bill to secure housing or lands for people who are living in an area but it's in the tax? Is that fair? The taxpayer?
Well, I mean, it is fair. Let me explain how it is done. If a private landowner owns an entire hillside and you have 75 households living there, and each person must pay rent, although they own the house or the physical house, they own it on somebody else's land. So that person can give you notice anytime to leave. There's nothing wrong in a government taking a bold step Rather than having 70 households trying to get land from a landowner, for government to acquire the land and arrange with the persons living on the land a payment plan over the years to be able to repay government for the land. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's even more important to do that because in many instances, overcrowding and high density areas lead to other social problems. And it leads to issues in terms of drainage and whose water is going where and landslides. There are serious social problems that arise from overcrowding and high density living arrangements. And it's a responsibility of central government to ensure that we manage those things and we create more civilized living conditions for individuals. I don't think we should leave that entirely up to individuals to deal with or the private sector to deal with. There are certain programs that government must stand firm and take some decisive actions to make sure that the people's lives are made better.
The Cash Tree South Waterfront, let's call it that.
Yeah.
That's an ambitious plan. It's been bounced around for quite some time now. What's the difference now? How are you going to ensure at least the soil is at least stirring for something like that?
Yeah. From what I had heard of the plan, which was first signed under the United Workers' Party government, it was about the redevelopment of Port Castaways. You heard about high-rise apartments where the old fire station was. You heard about Point Seraphin. You never heard anything about Banan. You never heard. Where the Slasper fence ended was where the project ended. For me, that's unfair. The people of Banan have an equal right to see the development of the waterfront, to create opportunities for themselves, for the vendors from that area, the small businessmen from that area, the fishermen who are in Banan now and are finding now they're under tremendous pressure by people coming to live in the area where they have their boats, whatnot, and small businesses starting there. It has to be more planned, it has to be developed. And if you ever, and I invite you sometime to do so, just sit on that waterfront and see the cruise ships come in and go out, to see the movement in the harbor. I mean, it's a fantastic, view and feeling. What if we can enhance it and create opportunities for persons from Hospital Road, Fuasho, Banan? I believe when we speak about the redevelopment of Port Castaways, it should not end at the Slasper Gate. It should go all the way around towards Latop and ensure that we have a comprehensive redevelopment of Port Castaways and not a selective redevelopment of Port Castaways.
If elections go your way, you
mean when?
Cash Trees. If it goes your way and you retain Cash Trees South for Labour, what are the short-term or immediate effects that the constituents there can feel now that he's there? Is it office and he has the opportunity now to
Well, I'll tell you something. For me, the priority is about the programs that can develop the attitude, the disposition, the mindset, the thinking of our people. And that's probably more important than the projects. You need both. But for me, the programs, and I grew up in a youth movement that was about training youth, training sportsmen. I spent many years in cricket, in sports. And I know the importance of programs. I've worked with Darren Sami, and I know the importance of the right attitude and disposition to success. Even before, this election, I've already started initiatives to bring the communities together. The Soccerama, the Cricketorama in Banan, to bring Fuasho, bring Cemetery together, to bring the youth of Banan together, to try and lower the tension among those communities, to get them to see sports as a tool for development and for advancement of themselves. Even in Cicero, we've had an activity. We've already started planning for the football program, the grassroots program, the youth programs. We've started the planning already because the first set of activities I want to engage in is to bring the people together, to bring the communities together, especially the waterfront communities, the Fuasho, the Banan, and the Cemetery, to bring them together to understand that collectively we can advance the community and not having division and rancor among the communities. I see sports as a very powerful tool for the development of our young people, and it will be a priority for me immediately after election to start sports programs where we can engage our under 8s, our under 10s, our under 12s in sporting activities every Saturday on the playing fields and the spaces that they have. To start engaging the young men and young women who are interested in dance. And for me, that's fundamental, to start those programs. And even the elderly, to start getting the elderly out of their homes into the community facilities, to start interacting with themselves, interacting with the other young people. I think that a precondition for any success is the attitude and the disposition of our people. And that's what the programs deal with. The projects facilitate that and takes it to the next step. But we have to start focusing on the programs. And my first set of actions will be on the programs that can bring the communities together, can start engaging young people, start mobilizing young people, and setting them in that right direction.
Riani, I just want to clarify. When Ernest speaks of sports, I actually played. He didn't. Just want to clear that up, right?
Last for me, your rivals who speak on the opposition side, one of her mandates is to deal with the violence, deal with the crime in the area. She wants to take away, like that. We haven't heard your position on crime, which is a problem in some of the communities in Castle South.
Just think about Riani, just think about it. A candidate says, when I win, I will go and take out the guns from the ghetto. If you know there are guns and it's destroying lives, go and take it out now. Why is only after you win you will go and take it out? What's that supposed to mean? For me, I am speaking to all the young men in Fuasho, in Cemetery, in Bannan. I'm speaking to all of them. Every day I speak to them about the future, about they themselves have kids, they themselves have girlfriends. They must always think about the future of those kids. They serve no value to those young children if they're in bodily or if they're dead. I say that to them every day when I speak to them. I don't have to go on the media to say it. I don't even have to say it on platform because it is a real thing for me. And when I speak to them, I remind them about that. To see in a Labour Party victory, to see in my election an opportunity for them to end the violence and to move forward.
Victoria Hospital serves pretty much most of the Dormant population. In your constituency, the condition is questionable to say the least. What's illness,
The new one as well. Huh?
Yeah, there's a new there's a new Owen King EU hospital that will open. And again, just let's put all those things in context. You listen to the opposition 5 points, whatnot, one of which is an amnesty on medical bills, something which the Labour Party did in 2012. Deep down inside, that's not a solution. The solution is a comprehensive program of health services that can cater for all persons in St. Lucia and make it affordable. There are always going to be individuals who are unemployed, who don't have the means to pay for health care. We do not have to deny them health care. We have to have a system where everybody can benefit from it. Offering an amnesty on medical bills will not solve the problem of the next person who has to go and get a CT scan or has to do an X-ray. Simple fact is some people will not be able to pay for it. And what the Labour Party has proudly announced is that we will finally have in this country a universal healthcare program, a comprehensive system that will be so structured that all St. Lucians will be able to access affordable and quality healthcare. And I'm excited about the fact that the Owen King EU Hospital is in Cashel South, and we will become and remain the standard bearer for world-class healthcare in St. Lucia, where all St. Lucians will get a chance to benefit from it.
Moreover, Riani, inherent in the opposition party's leader's statement about the amnesty was a suggestion that people have been denied health care because they couldn't pay. Nobody is asking to provide one instance of that being the case. That has never happened. Nobody can provide one instance of anybody who owes Victoria Hospital or St. Jude Hospital being hauled before the courts for non-payment. And he makes it sound like a novel idea of the amnesty. We did it in the first term in 1997, and we did it again in 2012. So that's not new. And as Ernest said, amnesty is not the answer. UHC, which we started, for example, between 2001 and 2006, which was stopped by them in 2006 when they came in, that is a better answer. And that is the question you should be asking Mr. Chasney. That's the question you should be asking Ulrich Mondesi.
Mr. Chairman, you position the Labour Party as one of substance and
Oh, the majority of the Caribbean has done that, not me.
okay. But how are you sure that message, that substance is being effectively communicated to the general electorate? Aren't you concerned, or is it couldn't be a concern that the message may be going over the heads of perhaps the Jew somewhat?
Well, not at all. In fact, and
Because
the answer to your question will be such a resounding victory on June 6th that the only way that can happen is if they heard our message. And that is what is going to happen on June 6th. There will be a resounding victory for the St. Lucia Labour Party.
But the reason why the
But the United Workers' Party platform has been one full of voodoo talk, full of slanderous statements, full of personality attacks.
That's what people like.
The Labour Party, well, there are people here, but the genuine, the substantive majority of St. Lucians want to hear the issues addressed. They want to hear what plans. For example, every question you have asked Ernest this morning has been answered substantively. I challenge you to ask his opponent the same questions and gauge the differences in their responses. Well, I didn't realize Lee Rani was the lead spokesman. So he has asked everything for all of you. Okay? Well, thank you very much for this. Pardon?
As far as in terms of the short election,
Well, I don't know what you mean by short notice. The Constitution says we could use as little as 14 days. We have used 17, so I'm not sure what short means.
I'm not disputing that, but the fact is that you have
No, I'm just challenging the word short.
Okay, let me remove the word short. Are we expecting observation we have enough time to follow this election?
The Labour Party has a history of accepting every observer mission that applies to come and monitor the election. But observer missions largely deal with the electoral department, they don't go through governments, because on election day, the government ministers are just candidates. So they go through the electoral department. As chairman of the Labour Party, I'm not aware of whether any observer mission has been invited, but I can say, I'm sure I can safely say, based on history, that there will be at least an OAS and CARICOM mission, at the very least. But I mean, the reality is, to be fair, whichever party has been in government upon the calling of a general election in St. Lucia, that general election has generally been held fairly and freely. I don't know that we on the Labour Party side can say that when the United Workers' Party is in office when there are elections, that they have done anything untoward to cause a result in their favor, and I don't know that they can say that the Labour Party has done anything. In fact, since 1979, there has been consistent change of government. There's been 79, we won. In 82, they won. We came back in 97, and even when they won in 87, there was two very close elections of 9-8, where there was one seat, Castries North, which was decided by a minority. Stevenson King was actually in a minority. Then we came back in 1997. We lost in 2006. They lost in 2011. So one can see that, generally speaking, elections, regardless of who is in office, have been held freely and fairly. I'm sure you didn't expect to hear that. Well, thank you very much, members of the press, and we will just await the arrival of the Honorable Moses Moushaya Baptiste, and we'll begin our second segment, which is the presentation of the pledges by the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Infrastructure, Port Services and Transport, and the Honorable Moses Moushaya Baptiste, the Agriculture Minister. So you can just break for a short while. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
The way Ernest was going there, Ernest look at you.
Oh, so you've been Marsha once before. How long ago?
When I was a young boy, is the gardens I used to go.
So now you want to be Prime Minister, now you coming in Marsha?
So Castries is one of those critical economic zones. And so Castries has to provide jobs not only for Castries East, but for Castries North, for people living in Castries Central, people living in Castries South. So you have to bring industry back to it. It doesn't mean manufacturing, it means business.
Oh, okay, then tell the people why you moved the opening of Jazz from Marsha. You didn't realize it would disenfranchise all these same people? So when you look at the roads, schools, refurbished stations, laptops, human resource centers, multipurpose courts, children's park, refurbished fields, and overall progress of East Castries under Philip J. Pierre, là où est tout ça? Qui m'a dit au cas
Moué fâché.
Kennynomics? What is Kennynomics?
Kennynomics? Kennynomics means new investments in hotels, St. James Club, Capella, Freedom Bay, and now Smugglers. It means strategic investments in agriculture, education, and sustainable energy. Kennynomics means a record performance in tourism, increased visitor arrivals, stay-over passengers, in yachting, ferry passengers, and cruise ship visitors. Kennynomics means cruise ship employment program. It means thousands employed through NICE. It means NICE programs expanding with 27 million in foreign aid. Kennynomics means regaining the trust and confidence of the international community, with over 13 million towards the water project in Dennery, 12 million for the new aquatic center, another 13 million for St. Jude's. It means securing the largest World Bank loan for St. Lucia ever. Kennynomics means 150 million for the shock to Grosile Highway and another 38 million for the roads in the south. Kennynomics means working to reduce the deficit to 5.8% of GDP and bringing it even lower to 3.4%. Kennynomics. The courage to make the difficult decisions that have put St. Lucia back on the path to prosperity.
Kennynomics? What is Kennynomics?
Kennynomics? Kennynomics means new investments in hotels, St. James Club, Capella, Freedom Bay, and now Smugglers. It means strategic investments in agriculture, education, and sustainable energy. Kennynomics means a record performance in tourism, increased visitor arrivals, stay-over passengers, in yachting, ferry passengers, and cruise ship visitors. Kennynomics means cruise ship employment program. It means thousands employed through NICE. It means NICE programs expanding with 27 million in foreign aid. Kennynomics means regaining the trust and confidence of the international community, with over 13 million towards the water project in Dennery, 12 million for the new aquatic center, another 13 million for St. Jude's. It means securing the largest World Bank loan for St. Lucia ever. Kennynomics means 150 million for the shock to Grosile Highway and another 38 million for the roads in the south. Kennynomics means working to reduce the deficit to 5.8% of GDP and bringing it even lower to 3.4%. Kennynomics. The courage to make the difficult decisions that have put St. Lucia back on the path to prosperity.
C'est l'habitude, toujours quoi ça Kenny.
600,000.
2.8 billion.
22.
2 billion.
They just lie.
25 EC. 30 or 40 euro.
Ikwe moun kuya.
Mamai Flambeau! Mamai Flambeau!
Apweza inia disip.
Who is going to be my protege?
When I am looking to get investors to come to this country, they don't ask me to speak Creole.
When the political leader sends me and he says, Dominic, go overseas on an assignment, I don't need to be able to speak Creole.
Ebe mili.
50%.
7%.
2%.
6 and 7%.
30%.
2%.
Memba gaila.
You go pun!
Major there. Mrekai demo to you.
Zot tous les des.
In a series of presentations on the 15 pledges presented by Prime Minister Kenny Anthony on behalf of the St. Lucia Labour Party government on last week's Market Steps meeting. We outlined 15 pledges which the Labour Party will undertake upon resuming office on the 7th of June, following the June 6th general election, which we expect will give us an even larger mandate than we have at the moment. Today, we deal with the economic development and job creation, which will deal with three of the pledges. The first is that we will work vigorously to reduce unemployment to below 15% through a combination of measures, including initiatives in tourism and government finance construction. Second pledge was we will rejuvenate the city of Castries, restoring it to its former status as the most attractive city in the Eastern Caribbean. And the third one we will deal with today is we will completely transform the agricultural sector, focusing on new value-added products like nutraceuticals and organics. With me today, a Deputy Prime Minister and Minister with responsibility for infrastructure, port services and transport, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, and is also the long-serving representative of Castries East, who will be embarking on his 5th electoral victory. And with him is the Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries, the Honorable Moses Musa Jabatis, and also the Member of Parliament seeking his 3rd term for the constituency of Vieux Fort North. I will now ask the Deputy Prime Minister to address us on his aspects of the pledges. Over to you, Mr. Deputy Prime Minister.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, good morning again. Our first pledge is we will work vigorously to reduce unemployment to below 15% through a combination of measures, including initiatives in tourism and government finance construction. In this area, we intend to pursue a very aggressive job creation strategy. In our 2011 manifesto, our Blueprint for Growth, we promised to create the National Initiative to Create Employment, NICE, and to inject 100 million into the economy for job creation. We have fulfilled both of these pledges. NICE has created over 6,000 new jobs in a variety of sectors, public and private, and as of this quarter, we have injected 100.94 million into job creation. This has brought unemployment down to 20%, its lowest value in 6 years. Our intention over the next 5 years is to bring unemployment down to where we left in 2006, which is below 15%. We will do this through the following measures: a vigorous public sector investment program, which will see the following projects either continue or commence: the North-South Link Road, the Millennium Highway rehabilitation, the Castries to Grosley and Secondary Roads Improvement Project, the Dennery Water Supply redevelopment, funding secured from the Mexican government and the CDB, the Deriso Treatment Plant, funding from the European Union, the Vieux Fort Water Supply redevelopment, funding secured from the CDB, the John Compton Dam rehabilitation, the Castries Water Treatment Project, the diagnostics facility to support agricultural development and rehabilitation of agricultural feeder roads, the commencement of 3 new large infrastructural projects: a new complex at Kubari, a new police headquarters at Latok, a new national theatre complex at Shok. We intend to stimulate new foreign direct investment in tourism, infrastructure, energy, information and communications technology, and other services. The tourism sector will be a key component in our economic development strategy. We are aiming for an increase of 50% in our hotel room stock by 2020, resulting in an additional 100,000 stopover visitors per year to our shores. The energy sector will also feature strongly, and we expect that within the next 2 years, construction would have been completed on the 100 million 12 megawatt wind farm in Dennery and the 3.2 megawatt solar farm in Vieux Fort. Additionally, during our next term of office, we will commence the exploratory drilling phase for geothermal energy, but in a site away from the Peters management area. Our pledge to redevelop and rejuvenate the city of Castries, restoring it to its former status as the most attractive city in the Eastern Caribbean. Our capital city has tremendous historical, cultural, and economic significance. Castries was once thought of as the cleanest and one of the prettiest cities in the Caribbean. Unfortunately, we have lost that distinction. The migration of commerce and populations out of Castries is worrying, and is certainly not a trend which our government is comfortable with. Therefore, the rejuvenation of the city of Castries will be one of the physical development priorities of our government in our next term of office. We plan to enhance the historic and cultural assets of our city to make it more attractive for residents and visitors alike, and provide incentives for the private sector to join us in the restoration of historical structures in the city. The construction and commission of Walcott House, the childhood home of Derek and Roddy Walcott, gives us an opportunity to elaborate the cultural and historical significance of our city. The Minister for Agriculture will deal with the pledge to transform the agriculture sector.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, good morning. Pledge number 14. We will completely transform the agricultural sector, focusing on new value-added products like nutraceuticals and organics. We have started to see a resurgence in the agricultural sector. Last year, 2015, almost all the subsectors in agriculture, fisheries, and food production increased production. Banana exports grew by 35.3%, and as the Prime Minister noted in his address, St. Lucia is the only Windward Island still exporting bananas to the United Kingdom. Supermarket purchases of root crops, fruits, vegetables, and condiments increased by 13%, and crops purchased from local farmers by our hotels increased by 11.8%. So our agricultural sector is in a much better position. In our coming term of office, we intend to achieve a complete transformation of the agricultural sector, and we will do this through a combination of domestic food security related initiatives and export market focused actions. At the domestic level, we plan to build on our successful implementation of the improved school feeding program and take this to an entirely different level. We intend to establish centralized production centers for schools within close proximity that will purchase fresh, packaged, nutritious, and tasty meals, and that will then be distributed to the schools. This will have multiple positive results. It will stimulate agricultural activity through encouraging production to supply the centers. It will generate employment at the farm level and also at the new center. It will address hunger and nutrition problems in schools and ensure that no child, regardless of economic circumstance, is without a proper balanced meal in school. It will also greatly assist us in the fight against non-communicable diseases, which is becoming more prevalent now because of an overconsumption of processed foods that are high in saturated fat, salt, and simple sugars. At the export level, we intend to take advantage of the growing nutraceuticals industry. Nutraceuticals are products that are manufactured from foods and they are marketed for their health benefits. Our traditional culture has for generations used natural products for promoting wellness and fighting disease. Products like turmeric, which we know as chichima, ginger, soursop, gopompon, guenabafei, and sime cotois have been part of the lives of our societies for years. However, it is only over the last few years that the international health and fitness industry has officially realized the benefits of those natural products. Nutraceuticals are one of the fastest growing markets internationally. It is expected to be a $205 billion industry by 2017. And the market for nutraceuticals ingredients like the raw products which we spoke about are very abundant in St. Lucia. And this industry is growing at a rate of 7% per annum. Currently, it stands at $24 billion. We see this sector as having the potential to assist in the radical transformation of agriculture, and we intend to partner with reputable development partners to create an exciting new opportunity for our farmers and agro-entrepreneurs. This industry is tailor-made for our small farmers, and we hope to see the day soon when our farmers can be supplying the manufacturers of those products, for example, ginger and turmeric and so on, so that those products can be seen in places like the Body Shop, Holland and Barrett, and Whole Foods, with turmeric, ginger, soursop, and moringa and coconut as part of the ingredients. I thank you very much.
C'est l'habitude, toujours quoi ça kenem.
600,000.
2.8 billion.
22.
2 billion.
They just lie.
25 EC. 30 or 40 euro.
Ikwe moun kuya.
Mamai Flambeau! Mamai Flambeau!
A poisa in your DC.
Comprehensive that you accept them wholeheartedly. So? It is a very important question. We have worked very hard with other agencies, other ministries, to ensure that we increase our advocacy on the issue. I think also the evidence that has come out of the Ministry of Health and the evidence from our medical community continues to convince young people in particular that we need to eat better and we need to take care of our bodies. The evidence of so many of our young people, it's no longer elderly people who are falling sick and who are dying as a result of the effects of diabetes and poor eating habits. The evidence is all around us, and I believe that the young people are paying attention. The last thing I want to say is this. In our government, we continue to demonstrate that issues are multifaceted, and therefore every single issue is tackled by different ministries working together. So the Cabinet of Ministers appointed a Cabinet Subcommittee on Food and Nutrition Security. And so the Ministers of Health, Education, Social Transformation, and myself as Minister for Agriculture, we work together in a Cabinet Subcommittee to ensure that those policies, that we act on those policies. So I'm confident that the operations of our government will ensure that we will do what is necessary together with the medical community and other social partners to ensure that this message is driven home.
Now, that's on a state level, perhaps you have some control there. But let me just ask, are you aware what the average price of a salad is at a supermarket or a restaurant?
Well, there are different prices. I mean, you go to restaurants, and it depends on the salad that you're talking about.
The average price of a salad compared to fast food is, there's a distinct difference. The salads are more expensive. What's good for you is more expensive. What can you as agriculture minister do to perhaps influence, those prices, to perhaps, to try to at least bring some sort of balance, give the public, the option, an affordable option of healthy foods?
In order to make food more affordable, the government of St. Lucia has implemented a number of programs, first of all in more efficient production, new technology, so that the farmers can reduce their cost of production, in addition to the assistance that the government has given by way of training, by way of direct inputs, and also by way of changing the production methodology on the ground. The reason for the high prices of those packaged salads and so on is simply because of the demand. It is very clear that people in the society are demanding more and more healthy foods. I'm convinced that with the increasing local food production, that the prices will continue to go down since they have been becoming more and more available. We have seen over the last 3 years or so, every single year that we increase the production of local foods, and they are more available, and therefore the prices continue to go down at the local level. The other thing I want to say is that we have a very intense program of home gardening, and we see even more and more individuals from the inner city areas in schools all around St. Lucia. People are growing their own food, and that too will assist.
And that, if I understand, is going to help alleviate unemployment. A lot of the public will be given the opportunity to be a part of these projects. But let's put things into perspective here. These projects will not, these construction projects will not go on forever, right? They will be short-term, so to speak. Can these short-term construction projects, if we call it that, really make an end in unemployment, bring it down to 50%?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I want to make it clear that all these projects, especially the PSIP projects, the funding has been secured. It's not a matter of we just saying something. The funding may take some time, but the funding has been secured. Secondly, when there is initial employment, most of the employment, as you see, goes directly into construction. But there is a multiplier effect in that as soon as you inject money into the construction industry, subsidiary industries begin to develop almost automatically. I'll give you a very simple example. Once there's money in construction, you find the softer industries like manicurists, pedicurists, hairdressers, these things these things get stimulated because there is money, there's more money. So you can get money to spend on these things. Now, these people in these industries, they get trained and they develop a skill. So you see, what we need is the initial injection that will sustain itself over a period of time. Now, with that initial injection, our private sector will build more houses, will build more buildings. So it's continuous. What you need is the initial injection, which will happen for these projects.
Who's going to bear the brunt of the expenses, if any, to convert Castries to a duty-free area?
Well, we have started. If you notice, right now we are making the streets of Castries more comfortable for the differently abled. That has started. That is helping in the tourism industry, because as you know, what the fastest or part of the fastest growing sector in tourism is travel of the differently abled. So we're starting there. In terms of making Castries a duty-free town, it's going to be mainly private sector driven. What the government to do is create the incentive, create the environment. It's going to be private sector driven, and that project is not in a silo. Very shortly, we're going to be expanding work. We're going to be doing more work on the Castries Harbour to accommodate larger ships. So with larger ships, you're going to get more tourists because the industry is heading for larger ships. So we're going to get more tourists, and hopefully with these more tourists, there'll be more shopping in Castries. That's why we want to prepare Castries. We also are vigorously working on the development of shopping facilities at Port Castries. So it's a total picture, but the government is taking the initial stage by making the environment ready for the private sector.
Any other questions? Okay, I see. I see the president-elect of Marcel has asked all the questions. So. No, I just put him on his leg. Well, thank you very much, members of the press. And tomorrow we have the second set of pledges, and we'll meet you here, God willing, 10 o'clock tomorrow, Wednesday, for the second set of pledges, which we will have a different set of ministers will be accompanying me here tomorrow. So thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Yes.
C'est l'habitude li. Toujours quoi ça kenem.
600,000. 2.8 billion.
22.
2 billion.
They just lie.
25 EC. 30 or 40 euro.
Ikwe moun kuya.
Mamai Flambeau! Mamai Flambeau!
A poisa inia disip.
Who is going to be my protege?
When I am looking to get investors to come to this country, they don't ask me to speak Creole.
When the political leader sends me and he says, Dominic, go overseas on an assignment, I don't need to be able to speak Creole.
Ebe mili.
50%.
7%.
2%.
6 and 7%.
30%.
2%.
Memba gaila.
Ugo Pon!
Major there. Mrekai Demotil.
Zot toule de sa di sa zot vle. Me ou pa kay kene se moun la.
You trickster, you trickster.